black, the nipper is $50.
$50.
And then it's all the upcharges for either a solid color, as on our Surefire light, because this can come in any solid color, browns, olives, blues, and then we have the fish print. And that's the beauty about Able. If there's something you want in a fish print, they will do it.
They've got it. And you know, the thing is, for the fisherman that just has everything, and you're wondering, what do I get this person for Christmas, for a birthday, or for any kind of celebration? Folks, Able makes it. And what's really nice about it is it's built to last a lifetime. You buy this one time, if you don't lose it, that's why I suggest you put it on a zinger and keep it kind of secured. It's going to last a lifetime, and you know, just looking at it, it just tells you this is a quality product. So I just noticed it there. I had to talk about it real quick. We kind of jumped the gun, but yeah, this is really nice. It's got a.
This is the newest product from Able. They just began shipping this right before Christmas, and there's a 2-year warranty on the cutting surfaces. So if anything goes wrong in the first 2 years, they're just going to replace them for you.
Nice. And it's got a little eyelet cleaner out of there. So you got a little
needle
head cement on your fly. Just clean it out right there. And like I said, this is top notch, and $50 is just not a bad deal. One thing I will tell you though, this has got the fish graphic on it, so this will be a little bit more than $50. We're talking about the plain black, which the black I know is going to look amazing because it's going to look like their reels. Okay.
Let's go to the quick change where we started 5 minutes ago.
Let's go to the quick change there, Skip. I'm sorry for skipping.
Okay.
No pun intended.
In all the saltwater and some of the super trout reels, the drag system is as we showed you prior with the cork drag surface. And as you saw how we took the reel apart, others in the fishing industry said, why don't you make a reel that can become a quick change? So this new model, which we call the QC or the quick change from Able, this reel is essentially now almost 2 years old, and there are 4 sizes in it, and essentially, unlike having to undo the cork or the drag knob and the nut on the back end, on this all we do is undo the drag entirely, take it totally off, lay the frame in the palm of your hand, push in, rotate forward, and off it comes.
Nice.
Okay, now you're going to see this big metal housing here, and again the cork drag plate. The drag is still the same system with the pawl. This entire housing is nothing but the catch mechanism to receive the spool. And so to put it back on, just lay it back on there again, press down, rotate the other direction on that polished hub, and you will see that your spool is back on. Now you can see that there's some distance between the spool to the frame, but as you tighten the drag knob, that draws it right in.
There you go.
And that's how clean and simple that is.
I like storing my reel, by the way, with the drag loose. What it does, it doesn't put pressure on that cork, and not that the cork will fail you, but I just like, I'm a machine guy, aircraft mechanic for 28 years, so I don't want things to have unnecessary force on it, so I just back it off a little bit and let it set that way. So I think that drag will just last a little bit longer for you.
Okay. Let's talk about one more specialty type reel from Able.
Okay.
And that would be in the creeks and the TRs.
Okay.
This happens to be the new Creek #1 with a standard or this is a large arbor spool. It's probably a little difficult to see, but the bottom of the spool is raised from the arbor of the reel, and therefore large arbor, all lightweight, well ported to take the aluminum out, but still leave the integrity and the strength in the reel.
Definitely. Very popular with the traditionalists who like bamboo or like fiberglass, like a lightweight, high performance, and incredibly good looking reel. This is the ticket right here.
This is lightweight. This happens to be the Creek #1 large arbor, so this is going to hold 2 and 3 weight lines. A lot of the bamboo fly rod people like
Definitely.
this just because of how lightweight it is.
And it looks good.
Yeah, and this is the old standard catch mechanism where there's a little clip here, and that releases a little clip inside, and there you have the old traditional gear and pawl, click pawl system. Personally, this is the system I use for all my trout fishing between the creeks and the TR reels.
You know, one thing is that there's a conception that you need to have a drag to trout fish. You really don't need to have a drag to trout fish. One thing that causes resistance as your fish is taken off is your rod. So what I do is once I have a fish on, I just lift my rod just a little bit higher, and that's going to act as my resistance and a shock absorber, so I'm not putting pressure on my reel. And then if the point comes where I really do need a drag, what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll palm the reel. And you've got the exposed outer rim. I'll just put my hand gently on it, and if that doesn't work, I'll take my fingers and gently put it inside there on the fly line. Usually you don't have to put too much pressure on them, do you?
No, you don't. For trout, they're going to take that first run, they're going to go, and they're going to stop, and they're going to start coming back. What you want is a reel, however, that there's none of that pulsing like Wayne had talked about before. You want it totally smooth. And when you have a trout on either the TR series or the Creek series, it's just tick, 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 and it's totally smooth. And Wayne was talking about how he can apply pressure with his hands or his fingers. I kind of do it a little different. I like getting the fish on the reel immediately. I'll pinch off the line, I'll hold the fish as steady as I can, just so it's smooth and I'm not putting undue pressure on. I'll get the reel or the line back on the reel, and then I feather the fly line between my index finger and the cork grip on the rod, and that's how I add and decrease my pressure on the fish. But you can, there's a lot of fine tuning that goes on with this reel. There are two hex heads here that are on a cam and they rotate, and that puts some pressure on this spring that engages this pawl that engages the gear. So I can increase and decrease the pressure just by rotating these little cam hex heads, and you just do that with your fingernail. And so there's a lot of fine tuning, and I get it set and I put it right where I like it. Like I enjoy fishing Silver Creek local here, and the Henry's Fork, the Missouri, the Bighorn, where you have the opportunity for very large fish eating tiny dry flies on the surface. And these reels are great for that. You're not going to break off your 5 and 6X tippet with these, and it's just a pretty fail-safe system.
I noticed outdoorsmen like to go back to traditional times. For instance, guys have been hunting for years with rifles, want to go to bows, and then they want to go to a long bow. It's the same way fly fishing. We all started out with spinning rods, at least I did, and then I graduated to a bait casting rod, and then I started fly fishing. And this brings you back down to, the basics. And the thing is that it adds just a little more enjoyment to your experience on the water, and it gives you a little more to do. The reason why I love fly fishing is I'm constantly doing something. I am casting, I'm observing, I'm changing flies, I'm studying water. It's a total experience to me, and this just adds a little more to the experience, and it makes it a little more fair for the fish. You're going to have to work a little harder for that fish maybe, but this brings it right back down to the level that I really enjoy, and of course it's the best product in the world right here.
One beautiful thing about Able and other quality products in the fishing industry, as you know, a lot of product that we consume comes from offshore. Selling high-grade products that are manufactured in the United States is pretty special. And
Very
Able is one of those companies that I take pride in being able to bring to the
Definitely.
dealers and to you, the angler. It's made in Southern California. all these reels start with a big long rod of bar stock aluminum, aircraft quality aluminum, only the finest. And I've been to the factory, and they cut like
Plugs.
a block, like a hockey puck, and then that gets all seated on machining, and all the cutting begins to, that's the final outcome.
Yeah. You know, I was always raised, you get what you pay for, and if you want a good quality product that'll last your lifetime, that's definitely what you want to make. And today, that's what the United States is known for, especially in the fly fishing industry. You just won't find a product made in the United States that is substandard. This is the best products and made here in the United States. And what's really nice is even their accessories are made here in the States.
Everything's made in the States, and Wayne was talking about the luggage before. We have the luggage and the bags, the rod carriers. That was all made in the factory at Camarillo. And with the move to offshore, Able chose not to follow suit. So you've got a lot of other companies that are bringing all that kind of product in for you. And it just got too cost intensive to continue to produce it in the States. And I have dealers that just wish we still made the Able luggage, because it was bomb-proof. It was exceptional product.
Yeah, exceptional. Like I said, anytime you see any Able product, as soon as you look at the product, you know that is well made. You know it was made right here in the States, and you know it's well made. You know, I think what we'll do now is we'll talk a little bit about the finishes. Now, nobody does finishes like Able, and I know that I sound kind of biased, but nobody does. And how they do it is just an amazing trick to me. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different finishes that Able has to offer. And I'm not real sure how many finishes they have. I know it's probably 30 to 40 different finishes. We just have a very few selections here, but if you have something in your mind, some kind of fish, they do it. They just do it. Every freshwater fish I can imagine, saltwater fish, and specialty finishes like this Borsky right here, the bonefish. Very nicely done. This is a very limited edition, by the way. This one here is 58 of 100. That means 100, folks. 100 made. That's it. They stopped production. So you know this reel is going to be not only a fine reel to last you a lifetime, but it's going to be a collectible. This thing in 10 years is going to be worth probably twice what it sells for today. So again, that's one thing I like about Able too. They do creative product like that, and gives us an opportunity to sell the best at a true value. So I just want to talk a little bit about that there. And here's one right here. What finish is this one here? Is this the brook trout?
No, this is going to be cutthroat.
Cutthroat, sorry. That's why we brought Skip today.
And there's a brook trout. So
okay,
similar but
very similar.
Different. And this is the new brown trout. This is absolutely beautiful. You can see all the dark marking up here, the little rings around the dark centers with the red dotting, just like your German brown trout. And same on the front. And there are two individuals at Able who their job is doing all of this painting. This is all hand done with anodized paint. It's all hand painted and then fired. And I have personally had reels that I got like in a steelhead graphic, and decided I needed an extra spool for that reel, and ordered it up from the factory, and the next spool looks essentially identical to the original I would have got 18 months prior. And so they're very, very consistent in their work.
And you know, to have it done is very reasonable. It's not that expensive when you consider the time and the effort it goes into doing this for you. I think it's a $75